One of the grave dangers that we are now facing is that we play around with the genetic base of things. For instance, a good example is that to prevent strawberries frosting, I think in California, they've altered the nature of a bacterium, Pseudomonas syringae, so that frost can't settle on the crop, and that's a genetic alteration. The very same bacterium is a very efficient cloud-seeding organism, and we may be depending on that bacteria and its allies for rain. So do we risk stopping rain in the whole world to stop frost settling on a Californian strawberry crop? We should make scientists accountable. At present, they're basically sociopaths.
Bill thinks that before manipulating individual genetic components, we should understand their role in the planetary system. Already we have begun destabilizing global weather patterns, and we know little of how to control it. But our most valuable resources are provided by nature. We think that water is abundant, yet at any one time, only 3% of the water of the planet is fresh, and almost all of it is trapped in ice. The remainder is being continually moved and purified as the sun drives the water cycle. The forests are the major pumps and collectors of this cycle and trap 3/4 of this precious water.
For every 3 inches of this litter, we can absorb 1 inch of rain. So there's a great absorbent carpet on the floor. So basically you can look on the rainforest as a tree system, or you can look on it as a lake. The forest transpires water to the air and rehumidifies that air. It's therefore a cloud generator. And then the forest gives off bacterial colonies to the airstream. And these are the ice nuclei from the clouds. So the forest, in every real sense, creates its own rainfall. The forest will create 500 or 600% more rainfall than a non-forested landscape. So the river and the forest have a constant interdependence. The river in the whole forest is as the sap is in the whole tree, and the river takes nutrients both ways. The fish swim up, and the phosphate from the fish can flash out into this forest through birds and animals, and the forest gives leaf material to the river. So if we clear this forest in this climate for agriculture, we have maybe 14% of the nutrient of the total system in the soil. And we lose the soil, we lose the nutrient, we lose the game.
In many parts of the world, the game is already lost. Haiti has no soil. It's down to bare rock. Famines in Ethiopia are caused by a drop in agricultural productivity of over 4,000%. Much of the world's forests are being logged and sold to the wealthy nations. Living on barren land, the local population is forced to destroy the few remaining resources just to survive to the end of the week.
It's certainly possible for us to extend forests over enormous areas that we have cleared historically or destroyed. And that's probably the only job that we have left on Earth that is can express our humanity, is to return other species to their place and take our place, which is a small place in the total system.
On a farm in southern Queensland, this process has already started. Once overgrazed and eroded, the property is becoming commercially viable again through the broad-scale permaculture system it has installed. It produces not only a fruit harvest, but also rare timbers lost from generations of logging. The land is dotted with ponds and waterways, and within them an aquaculture has been installed. Native species coexist with commercial crops. The pond life is just part of the thousands of species that are being introduced to the property. The rainforests are being replanted, and the wildlife they attract will add to its fertility.
The design here is to plant these small palms and ferns so that this will become a very broad corridor. Already, some of the rainforest birds, like the megapodes, the scrub turkeys, are moving in here. It's within these cool and shaded areas that the traffic of wildlife occurs. There's small water rat along the river. There's flocks of honeyeaters going through the canopy overhead, and every so often a forest wood pigeon comes down. Wallaby are on the slope, and they'll soon be moving along these corridors through the whole system of this forest farm. And for us, it's an incredible difference to be sitting in here, cool and shady, and it's so hot outside in the field.
It's kind of like the end game in any aeroplane.
Yeah, last act is the goats, right?
Yeah, when you see goats, you know, in the end of it.
Increasingly, Mollison has been drawn to the front line of environmental problems, the Third World, where he works with local permaculture organisations.
Many cultures, such as most of the Indian subcontinent and Africa, went directly from hunter-gatherer societies to agriculture, and agriculture is perhaps the final desertification of those continents. The causes of famine and want in those societies are because they didn't have this gardening instruction, and they didn't make that gradation from hunter-gatherers to gardeners.
When I returned after finishing my college, I got into working with the mainstream agriculture thing, and without realizing the fact what I was doing. When I heard about Bill Mollison and his work, I read his books, and I felt that I was not doing justice to myself and to the country and to the people. So we started the farm with the idea to do something with the people, learn from them, and show them to build on what they have already. So in a nutshell, I could say it's only a teaching tool to show them that they have the resources. What we need is to place them together, put things in the right place. We need a little input from outside in terms of finance, and at times with the little inputs of information where we could do things ourselves. Our own people could do it.
Mollison has influenced projects in Africa, Asia and Latin America. While many would see this as a charity program, Bill believes that these projects are models that the First World will need when the crunch comes for us.
What counts in Nepal and India is that they have years of ground experience and history and tradition to grow. And it's time to get these highly skilled and experienced people to the First World, where they can teach people how to look after themselves, how to feed themselves, how to save energy.
Most permaculture designers have already learnt these skills. Max Lindegger is the architect of Crystal Waters, an entire community planned along permaculture lines. With a capital of $8 million, he expects it to be a model for building communities with a future.
Well, we have always aimed to become developers. And this is the first active development, large-scale development, in which we've been involved. And we think we can do it much better than developers, or we will do it much better than developers. We've already provided water systems. All the houses here will self-provide for energy. We'll have mains energy only for semi-industrial endeavours, and all the agricultural land has been set aside for agriculture and the forestry land for forestry, and we're not obliterating our basic resources.